On February 24th, 2022, Vladimir Putin made a decision that would cost Russia over $450 billion. Not in a single day, not in a single mistake on the battlefield, but in a slow, grinding economic collapse that is still unfolding right now in October 2025. The West responded with the most comprehensive sanctions regime in modern history. And Putin? He laughed. He said Russia was sanction-proof. He called it economic warfare that would fail. He was wrong, catastrophically wrong, and today we're going to show you exactly how wrong he was, with the numbers the Kremlin doesn't want you to see. To understand the scale of this economic disaster, we need to go back to February 2022. Putin believed three things. First, that the war would be over in days. Second, that Europe was too dependent on Russian energy to impose serious sanctions. And third, that Russia's economy, which he called Fortress Russia, was strong enough to withstand any Western pressure. Within 48 hours of the invasion, the West proved him wrong on all three counts. The United States, the European Union, the United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, and Australia unleashed a coordinated sanctions package unlike anything the world had ever seen. They froze over $300 billion of Russian central bank reserves. They cut Russia's largest banks off from the SWIFT payment system. They banned exports of critical technology, semiconductors, aircraft parts, advanced machinery. And they imposed a price cap on Russian oil, limiting how much Moscow could charge for its most valuable export. Putin's response? Defiance. In March 2022, he told the Russian people that the sanctions would backfire, that the ruble would recover, and that Russia's economy would emerge stronger. For a few months, it even looked like he might be right. The ruble stabilized. Oil prices stayed high. Russia kept selling energy to China and India. But that was just the calm before the storm. Let's talk numbers. Real numbers, not Kremlin propaganda. The $450 billion hole, according to a report published in September 2025, Russia has lost at least $450 billion in revenue since the start of the war. That's not GDP, that's actual money that would have flowed into the Russian economy from oil sales, gas exports, technology trade, and foreign investment that simply vanished. To put that in perspective, $450 billion is more than Russia's entire annual GDP before the war. It's gone, and it's not coming back. The 12% GDP collapse. A study by Chatham House in September 2025 found that Russia's real GDP is now 12% lower than it would have been without the war and sanctions. 12%. That means the Russian economy is over a tenth smaller than it should be. For a country that was already struggling with stagnation, this is a death sentence for long-term growth. The oil industry is dying. Let's talk about oil, Russia's lifeblood. Oil and gas revenues account for 25% of the Russian government's budget. Without it, Putin can't fund his war machine. And the sanctions are working. In October 2025, the U.S. Treasury announced a new wave of sanctions targeting Russia's largest oil companies. These sanctions cut off access to Western technology needed to maintain oil fields, refine crude oil, and transport it to global markets. The result? Russian oil production is declining. Fast, but it gets worse. The oil price cap, set at $60 per barrel, means Russia is selling oil at a massive discount. India and China are buying Russian oil, yes, but they're paying rock-bottom prices, and Russia has no choice but to accept. The coal industry just collapsed. Now, October 2025, the Financial Times reported that Russia's coal industry lost $2.8 billion in just the first 7 months of 2025. That's more than double the losses from 2024. Why? Because European buyers, who used to be Russia's biggest customers, are gone. They've switched to American and Australian coal, and they're not coming back. The tech sector is dead. Here's the most devastating part. Russia's technology industry is finished. Completely finished. Western sanctions have cut off access to semiconductors, The tiny chips that power everything from smartphones to fighter jets. Without chips, Russia can't build modern weapons. It can't manufacture consumer electronics. It can't even maintain its existing infrastructure. Russian car production has collapsed from 1.5 million vehicles per year to just 300,000. Why? No chips, no advanced components, nothing. The war costs $1 billion per day. And while all of this is happening, Putin is spending an estimated $1 billion per day on the war in Ukraine. Every single day. Tanks, artillery shells, missiles, salaries for soldiers, payments to families of the dead. $1 billion. Every day, Russia's economy is shrinking. Its revenue is collapsing, and its expenses are skyrocketing. This is not sustainable. So what happens when an economy loses $450 billion and spends $1 billion a day on a war it can't win? It starts to crack, and those cracks are spreading. Recession is coming in. September 2025, a Russian government minister admitted publicly that Russia is on the brink of recession. Think about that. A government official in a country where speaking the truth can get you arrested admitted that the economy is failing. That's how bad it is. The Russian central bank has raised interest rates to over 16% to try to control inflation. But that just makes it harder for businesses to borrow money, invest, and grow. It's a vicious cycle. Mass layoffs in industrial cities. In cities like Magnitogorsk, Chelyabinsk, and Norilsk, Russia's industrial heartland, factories are shutting down. Coal mines are closing. Steelworks are laying off thousands of workers. These are the cities that built the Soviet Union. And now, they're dying. Without jobs, without income, without hope, these workers are starting to ask questions. Dangerous questions. Like, why are we fighting a war we can't afford? The brain drain Russia's best and brightest are leaving. Engineers, programmers, scientists, doctors. They're fleeing to Kazakhstan, Georgia, Armenia, anywhere that will take them. It's estimated that over 1 million skilled workers have left Russia since 2022, and they're not coming back. This is a demographic catastrophe. Russia is losing the people it needs to rebuild its economy, and without them, there is no future. Putin's war machine is running out of fuel. The Atlantic Council published a report in October 2025 with a blunt title, Putin's war machine may finally be running out of fuel. And they're right. Russia is burning through its Soviet-era stockpiles of tanks, artillery, and ammunition. But it can't replace them fast enough. Why? Because it doesn't have the money, the technology, or the workers. Even US President Donald Trump recently stated that the Russian economy is going to collapse unless Putin ends the invasion. When even Trump, who has been criticized for being soft on Russia, says the economy is doomed, you know it's serious. So let's go back to the beginning. Putin made a $200 billion mistake. Actually, it's now a $450 billion mistake. And it's still growing. He believed that Russia could fight a war and ignore the economic consequences. He believed that the West was weak, divided, and wouldn't have the stomach for a long sanctions campaign. He believed that Fortress Russia was invincible. He was wrong on every count. The sanctions are working, slowly, painfully, but undeniably. Russia's economy is not collapsing overnight, but it is collapsing. The oil industry is dying. The tech sector is dead. The coal industry is bankrupt, and the war is costing $1 billion a day. This is not propaganda, these are the numbers. From Forbes, from the Financial Times, from the US Treasury, from Russian government officials themselves. Putin gambled everything on a quick victory, and he lost. Now, Russia is paying the price, and that price is $450 billion. And counting. The question is not if Russia's economy will collapse. The question is when, and what happens to Putin when it does. If you want to understand how this war is really being fought, not just on the battlefield but in boardrooms, stock markets, and oil refineries, subscribe to Warfare Watch. We break down the economic war that the mainstream media isn't covering, because in modern warfare, the economy is the battlefield, and Russia is losing.